And good morning, everyone. Hope that everyone had a great weekend this weekend. I know I did. I saw that new Star Wars movie, which if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to see it. It's definitely an action-packed movie. But today, I'm going to be talking about how I spent over $400 on a repair that really should have only been about $20. So to give you a little bit of insight onto what my problem was, it was about 2.5 months ago, 2 months ago, I was noticing that every time I'd accelerate, it'd feel like my rear end would slightly kick out a little bit to the left, and then whenever I would stop accelerating, it would slide back to the right wherever it was. Now the first thing I did was my oil change was coming up, so I figured instead of me changing my oil by myself, I would just take it to a shop, have them check my suspension at the same time while they're changing my oil. I went ahead and did that, costed me $40. They said it was most likely that just the alignment because they felt all the suspension parts, didn't feel anything out of place. And honestly, that gave me peace of mind knowing that it was just an alignment versus like a huge suspension issue. So it would be a relatively cheap fix and not something I have to spend, hundreds of dollars on. So I went to a local alignment shop, got it aligned, paid $80, and when they were giving me my keys, they said, oh, it still does pull just a little bit, but we've calmed it down a decent little bit, which hearing that initially, it was like, great, that wasn't the problem, it wasn't just an alignment. So I got in, drove it, and it was doing the same exact thing. So at this point I'm thinking, great, it actually could be something wrong with my suspension, this could cost me a little bit. So I took it to a National Tire and Battery, and all they did was jack up my car, saw that I had aftermarket suspension parts. They said, oh, it's probably something to do with the aftermarket suspension. We can't do anything with it. So National Tire and Battery were no help at all to me. The next day after that, I took it to another shop. They said they couldn't find anything wrong with it. They just aired up the tires. Then finally on that third day, it was like a Tuesday or something like that, Tuesday or Wednesday, I took it to a Service First out here in Magnolia, paid them $60 for an inspection, and they said that my upper lower control arms were bad. Now if you've been keeping up with me, you'll see how I actually made a video on how to change upper lower control arms because I initially thought that was the problem. I was like, I was actually kind of ecstatic thinking that I actually found the problem. Now the Service First, they said they would charge me about $1,100 to change the upper lower control arms. So me, I just went online, found a pair for like $210. It was midway through the week, so I paid for the expedited shipping, so that was another like $30. So total it was like $240, $250 just for those upper lower control arms. I changed them out in a weekend and saved myself about $700. So after I changed my upper lower control arms, I took it on a test drive and it was still doing the same exact thing. Now granted, it did feel like I was going over bumps a little bit better, so maybe I would have had to change those upper lower control arms later in the future, but as far as the main issue, my main concern, it wasn't it. Now I changed the lower control arms on a Friday and Saturday, so all the shops and everything that I could have taken it to were closed on that Sunday, so I just spent all day Sunday thinking, what was possibly wrong with my car. Not a cool feeling at all, but what I was going to do was, I was planning on just calling up the Service First on Monday, dropping my car off there and having them do another inspection just to really see if they can find anything else. Well, that's what I did. I called them up on Monday as soon as I woke up. They said, just bring it in, you don't have to pay anything. We'll do another inspection on it since you already paid for the inspection. And after I dropped it off, maybe about 3 hours later, they called me, said they found something. It's just they would show me whenever I showed up over there at the Service First. And that's one thing that's actually really cool and useful about the Service First is they actually have a shuttle service. It's like a Ford Fusion or a Ford Focus or something like that, and they'll take you to work, take you to your home, and pick you up and bring you back. Which for me was really useful because I'm a manager over there at GNC and I work all the time. So for me that was really useful, and really honestly that was a main reason why I even chose them. Well, I got there a few hours later. They pulled my car up there with the area where they change oil. He brought me down into the bay underneath where they can loosen up everything. Well, he took my car, he shook it, and told me to look at the lower control arm where the bushing was. And yeah, that bushing was just completely shot because my entire car was just moving right there where that bushing was, which really did explain why it felt like my rear end was kicking out anytime I accelerated, because anytime there was any kind of pressure on that rear end, it would just kick those lower control arms back and just mess up my steering. Since I do have aftermarket lower control arms, I did just go through that same company to buy these bushings, which only cost me $20 for all 4 bushings for the rear lower control arm. It only cost me 20 bucks. And honestly, changing those bushings out were really easy. All I had to do was pry the old ones off, slap the new ones on, grease them up, and ready to go. Well guys, that is the story of how I spent over $400 on a $20 job. And if you do want to see the pictures of the old bushings versus the new bushings, you can check out my Instagram. I have a picture of the old ones on the right side, new ones on the left side. So if you want to check those out, you can definitely go to my Instagram, check it out there. But guys, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like this video and please subscribe. And as always, have a great day.